I think one of the things which what we have been observing is that the shift in cybersecurity is now about intelligence and measurable outcomes, which sort of enable faster response, smarter protection, and are strongly aligned to the business. And this particular business aspect is very well linked to what we see at a boardroom level from a conversation perspective. And Tony, you've been championing the boardroom from your Big Four days. You've worked with a lot of organization boards. Do you notice boards paying more attention to cybersecurity than ever? Is that shift real? Also, how are their investment priorities changing, and what metrics are security leaders being asked to deliver on?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, in terms of the emphasis on cyber, I'm not going to sit here and say the boards are now asking more and more questions about cyber, because quite frankly, they've been doing that for years now. But the shift has been, what is the level of intelligence, granularity, and effectiveness of those conversations? So in our state of cybersecurity report, the surveys that we do with organizations globally tells us that, you know, boards are hiring more independent advisors. They're also setting up special committees, and they're also making sure that as they onboard new members to their boards and committees, that they have a level of cyber fluency among them as well. And so those conversations are much richer than they ever have before. And I think that is the big shift that we're seeing. It's a much more intelligent conversation around risks and how these things link back to business initiatives, et cetera, as opposed to, back in the old days when we were simply educating, boards around this topic, and then talking about what's happening in the general environment and global trends and things like that. It's very, very contextual now based on what's happening in a client's environment. And so, what boards are asking continually, how do I make sure I'm getting value out of the investments that we've been putting forward for past several years? So certainly there's some classic metrics around maturity levels and KPIs around that. But, I think, what you're seeing more and more is tighter linkage between how does my cybersecurity program enable some of my strategies. For example, it could be around M&A. What due diligence have we done around M&A activity? How do we make sure that as we onboard and transition organizations either in or out of our company, how do we make sure that's done to mitigate risk and not slow down the business? All right. And so for us, this balance between enabling the business and defending operations is really the secret sauce of how our chief information security officers are navigating and managing the business of cyber within their companies. So I think, things around visibility, that's a key metric that we're seeing in terms of all of the environments getting back to that attack surface, things around true risk mitigation, and things around how do I align, these projects that I have, this laundry list of security projects, how do I make sure they, one, match up with my business strategies, have an ability to reduce threats and risk, and optimize my cost and my spend in this space, because we do have technologies now to be able to optimize some things, consolidate some of those security tools we talked about previously, and speed up the responsiveness of potential attacks from the threat landscape.
Sure. Clearly, Tony, this is something which we also observe and, see that cybersecurity is just not about an ROI conversation, but it's an enabler conversation trying to drive business outcomes. Primarily the conversation are getting more shifting towards being proactive, resilient, building intelligence-driven capabilities for enterprises that tie business outcomes to the investments they are making. From a risk-adjusted KPI to metrics like, we are hearing cyber-adjusted EBITDA, leadership want proof that cybersecurity delivers the value they are, investing in the business.